Hello all, welcome to Insights IAS new initiative MARGHADARSHAN, that is learn PSIR through PYQs. Myself NIKHIL, the political science and international relations faculty from Insights. So let's look into two questions for today. The first question is on Marx. So let's read the question. Marx's concept of alienation is essential part of the reality in capitalism that they are asking you to explain. 15 marks, and this is a 2021 question. So obviously again we are going to, what will be the introduction, what should be the demand, what is the demand of the question, and how the answer should be structured. So obviously here introduction I am going to introduce saying that what is alienation. Alienation is a mechanism we are speaking about separation of an individual from his identity. He is being separated from being self-aware, that we can say is alienation. So then I will quickly come to Marx. And I am going to say Karl Marx, especially when Marx was young, he largely spoke about how capitalism leads to alienation of an individual in that regard. So here now the demand of the question requires for me to explain the process of alienation. So first I will have to write about, according to Marx, what is the essential aspect of human nature. For Marx, man by nature is a social animal, and for Marx, man by nature is creative. But what Marx explains that in capitalism or the process of capitalism leads to dehumanization of an individual, and he is reduced to a state of machine. So now I need to explain that process, how it happens. So Marx largely spoke about alienation of four types, or alienation happens in four stages. So one, you can say alienation from the production process. Second, alienation from the product. Third, alienation from society and family. And fourth, alienation from self. So you need to explain, saying that in the process of production, man is reduced to cog in the wheel of production because he is doing repetitive work, etc. So obviously he does not enjoy the process of production, neither he have an idea of what is the final shape of the product. Second, alienation from the product. Man is part of the capitalism process where you are producing goods which you are not going to buy or which you cannot afford to buy in that regard. So obviously you have been enslaved by the market. Alienation from society. During this process, you can say an individual or a worker or labor gets very less salary in that regard. So an individual has to live, work to live in that regard. Hence, he does not get any time to spend with family. He gets alienated or separated from the family. So alienation represents separations. Fourth one, now you can say alienated is separated from self, means you lose the essence of human nature. Dehumanization happened. You are reduced to a status of machine. Hence, Marx says that capitalism leads to what the alienation is an essential aspect of capitalism. And Marx recommends to come out of this alienation. The only solution lies in change in mode of production. And to bring this change in mode of production, it is very essential for a revolution, and that revolution is going to be violent, because Marx believes that violence is the midwife of revolution in that regard. And you can say this important idea given by Marx has also led to Herbert Marcuse in post-industrialized society. He has developed the concept of one dimensional man. And you can say Marx's ideas has been also reflected in various thinkers, like Gandhi also has spoken about the exploitation which happens under capitalism. But nevertheless, you have people like Karl Popper who disagree with Marx, and Karl Popper says that capitalism does not lead to alienation but leads to innovation. Nevertheless, you can say what Marx explained in his idea of alienation has been one of the fundamental aspects of understanding the exploitation of a worker within a capitalist society, and it has led to making capitalism more humanistic in nature. So that can be written as your conclusion. So this should be the structure of your answer for addressing this particular question. Now let's move on to the next question. Aristotle conception of equality, comment. It is for 10 marks, asked in UPSC 2015. So now here the core focus is that what I have to speak about. I need not write out everything about Aristotle. I have to focus my answer on his idea of equality. So first I need to explain his idea of equality, then I have to bring the contrary points, or what you can say, the critical evaluation of it, then I have to synthesize my answer. This will be the structure. So I'll start with saying that Aristotle is considered as the father of political science, and he's written an important book called as Politics. And in this book, when he speaks about the idea of justice, we can understand his conception of equality, which is proportionate equality, where he says equals should be treated equally and unequals should be treated unequally. And he also believes that that inequality is natural, from his statement where he says, from hour of birth, some men are marked for rule and others to serve. And you can say on these grounds he has defended slavery, and also he has excluded women, old age people from citizenship. Now it's time to bring antithesis or contradictory points, saying that however, Aristotelian idea of equality cannot be accepted to the framework of the modern day idea of social justice, because you can bring now Rousseau's argument here. Rousseau on the other hand argues that all inequalities are not natural. Hence, definitely slavery is something which is not natural, it is socially created. Hence, we can say the modern day idea of justice cannot be looked through the lens of Aristotle. We have to look through the lens of John Rawls, who spoke about the idea of equity, where it is necessary for the state to bring affirmative action to favor the vulnerable sections. Then you can say, however, the irony is that what Aristotle gave these ideas at a time when they believed inequality was natural, but the irony, as J.S. Mill says, even in the American southern states, they defended slavery on the same Aristotelian conception of equality, but however it is incompatible with the idea of social justice in modern times. So that can be written as your conclusion. So friends, you can say that how I have interlinked certain core aspects, have gone into analyzing and say what was Aristotle's idea of equality, and then also brought counterpoint saying that this idea of equality is not compatible with the modern day idea of social justice. So this should be your answer. And that's why I said again, it does not require new content, it requires more focus on the demand of the question. There should be more clarity in what you write. That is going to fetch more marks. With this, we have come to today's end of today's session. I'll meet again tomorrow with 2 new set of questions, previous year PYQs on PSIR. Till then, take care.